goals from the star boy Dane Scarlett. Pompey sent a statement to the rest of the league yesterday afternoon, and here is how some of the other results turned out. Ipswich beat Accrington 2-0 on the road, 2 Ironside goals in quick succession, won the game for Cambridge against Lincoln. 3 second-half goals, including a 90th minute winner for Plymouth, meant that they travelled back from Pride Park with all 3 points. Shrewsbury beat Forest Green 2-0 away from home, and Oxford registered another win. That all means that the table is relatively similar to where we were this time last weekend, with the top teams starting to make a name for themselves in terms of wins in this division. Ipswich just about topped the table, 1 single goal in front of the mighty Pompey. Plenty to discuss this evening as the buzz remains with every Pompey fan all over the world. We will review all the action from yesterday, pick a goal and player of the month for August, as well as get the view from a Barnsley fan heading into our game next weekend. All right, here over the next hour or so, here on 4-0 Sunday Live. A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along. It's just gone 7 o'clock. It's Sunday night, and that only means one thing: a very warm welcome to 4-0 Sunday Live. Would you believe it? This is now the 7th edition, which means we've been doing these for about 2 months now, which is absolutely remarkable. Another group of people who are absolutely remarkable, if I can get my words right, are the wonderful gentlemen that join us this evening. How are we all? Welcome to everybody. I spoke to Gaz and Adam a second ago. Aaron's got a new shirt on, and Alex, I love that one as well, mate. That's like a combination job. We love it. We love it. Right, we'll say hello to everyone in the stream as well. Good evening to Swaz Plays. Hello to Jacob. Evening to Lexi. Pompey123 reckons we're going up. Ryan on Facebook. Good evening to you. Leo likes the video. Thanks very much, mate. Hello to Luke. Alex, I'm not going to repeat your name, but hello to you. Lexi says hi to me as well. The fish tank is back. How exciting. Mark said, just to say, it's like when I went to Stevenage and we went up that year. Different feel about this one, though, isn't there, Mark? Right, we're going to take a quick, big hello to everyone, by the way. Gaz, good evening. Welcome all the way from Malta. It's dark where you are now, mate. What's going on?
Well, today, didn't do much. I played squash this morning, and I've just been actually watching the highlights of the game from yesterday. So all in all, a nice mellow day.
We'll chat about yesterday in a minute. That's going to take up the most of our conversation, Poirier. But a very quick word on Crawley Town on Tuesday. I say very quick because we hardly need to mention it. But important to note, Pompey didn't lose the game. We just didn't get as many points as Crawley did. What are your reflections?
It doesn't really mean much, does it? It's a nonsense game in my head. I think just it's done. It's out the way. We got some youngsters on the field. I think that's all we really needed. Got some penalties. Dane was on the pitch. He scored, of course. So I think it was just a test for the youngsters in my head.
Alex, we're not going to let Sam Allison get away with his horrendous refereeing performance and not mention him on 4-0 Sunday Live. Would you believe it? There was a bit old school, but I read the programme notes, would you believe, which is normally what you hear commentators say pre and post match. But apparently Mike Riley, who is a kind of infamous bloke at the top of the officiating in this country, sent an apology letter to Danny Cowley on behalf of Sam Allison as a result of his horrendous decision-making, and said that both penalties were mistakes. I know it means absolutely nothing, but thanks very much, Sam. Here's for the apology.
It's great to get the letter, but I mean, I feel like this has happened before with the Cowleys getting an apology, but it's almost like, and what's the repercussions? There are none. And, he'll keep getting games probably in League Two. He's going to keep doing what he does, probably making wrong decisions, but, it's a nothing game. I'm just thankful that it was him reffing that game rather than a more important one on a Saturday.
His Danny's comments after the game, Aaron, he was also keen to get a point across in regards to the way in which his teams perform. So we talked about relentlessness and very much reflected in Peterborough yesterday, and has been reflected in our league games. Are you at all concerned that our cup team, as it were, the B and C team, can't quite put on a level of performance that the A team can, or is that part for the course for Pompey?
I think that's part of the course because Danny knows his first 11. He knows his strongest team. So it gives the opportunity for the players that aren't always playing at starts and might not come in at subs. They need game time. They definitely need game time. So cup competition's perfect for them. I'm not too worried about the games. The last 2 cup games, not worried about them at all. But as long as the whole squad are getting time on the pitch, then yeah, it's all because otherwise it's going to get boring for some of the lads fighting for positions and then never going to play a game. But yeah, these cup competitions play all the players that we not play every week in, week out, and keep them fresh. And then you never know, they could actually step up a gear and everything, and they could actually end up in the starting 11.
A very good evening to everyone. 135 of you join us across YouTube and Facebook this evening. Before we get on to chat about Peterborough United, I wanted to give a special shout out to a very good friend of mine, Jake Smith, who was sadly involved in a little bit of a bump, should we say, on Friday, just a little bit. But before the football hour on Friday night, and he had to very quickly cancel that. He's the consummate professional. He'd never do something like that if there wasn't a massive reason for it. And there was, and you may have seen the picture of him. I'm not going to flash it up on the screen because A, it's quite graphic and it's Sunday night and people might be enjoying a roast while you're watching this. But B, it's not very nice. And it's, one side of his face is twice the size of the other. He's bumped and bruised and all sorts. So we're sending all our love, Jake. If you're watching, which you might be, take some rest, and we look forward to seeing you fighting fit in the press box very soon. Right, let's take a look at Pompey's run of fixtures over the next couple of weeks, and then we will review Peterborough United. Oh. I was worried that wasn't going to get going then. It's really exciting. It is a really exciting and challenging month on the way for Pompey. Next up, Barnsley away. Then our attention turns to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's Burton Albion, just a single point at the bottom of the league for them, yet to win a game all season in League One. Another tough test for Pompey at Fratton in the space of a few weeks. Plymouth Argyle at home on the 17th of September. Bolton will then visit the South Coast. They got a win yesterday despite back-to-back losses before that to Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Ipswich away will kick off Pompey's October. The next group stage game of the Papa John's Paint Pot follows our trip to East Anglia. Then Fleetwood make the long trip down to the blue and better side of Hampshire. Right then, gentlemen, let's take a look back at Peterborough United yesterday then. Gaz, I mean, statement's been the buzzword, but it was just that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And all playing a 4-4-2, which, apparently there's been some discussions around the bazaars that it doesn't work. But yeah, we played some nice football yesterday, and we got over the line. Obviously, a defensive error didn't help us. But as always, the new signing this season is the 12th man, because I heard obviously on the I Follow stream, as soon as they scored, the noise went up, and normally it's the opposite, isn't it? It's like they go down, but no, they could tell that they needed an extra man on the pitch, and obviously it helped because then we started dominating. We didn't show, we didn't lose the game, so I was happy how it all came about,
Adam, this is from a Peterborough fan. He said, thought you guys are very good yesterday. First 25, I thought we were strong. Started the second well, but your subs made an impact for sure. How key is it to Danny that he can bring on such a strength and depth? We talk about it all the time, but particularly against an opposition that you want to beat like Peterborough.
We just have such quality on the bench. We really do. We almost have a team that can rival most teams just for our bench. It's just sort of incredible the depth that he's made in this team. It's really good. Even Joe Pigott coming on, we thought he would be starting up front with Colby Bishop. And now we just have a young 18-year-old who's just bursting onto the scene. Just absolutely incredible that we have such a depth on the bench. It's just incredible, man. And
Aaron, we're all going to chat about Dane Scarlett, I'm sure, because he's the star boy, not just his attacking prowess and flair, but and obviously the ice running through his veins. We need to mention that as well, but also his bravery too, which Danny spoke about post-match.
Yeah, it's good. He likes to get in for a challenge and everything as well. He puts himself about, and he's only 18 as well. This kid's going to go far. He really, really is going to. And what a signing we've done! What an absolute signing! Now he's on the score sheet. These goals are just going to domino effect now. It's just unbelievable. He's credit to us, and well done, Danny and the team, for getting him in. And well, with all the players really. But yeah, he's a quality little player.
I was about to say, Alex, it doesn't stop with Dane Scarlett, does it? You look at kind of the top scorers of Pompey at the minute, and pretty much all of them, bar Ronan Curtis, are brand new signings. That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's Danny Cowley, as we keep saying on this week in, week out at the moment. And we'll keep saying it, even if we come in here on Sunday Live and we've lost the game, it's still not going to change. The business Danny and Nicky have done in this window has just been, second to none. And I think that it will be a real kind of first look that the Eisners get as well at what happens when, the manager gets the players you want. We're doing so well at the moment. And then I think there's no reason to say this season we shouldn't carry on. But to have the players that he wanted, it's really going well. Someone like Dane Scarlett, and it's it's testament to Danny Cowley that he's been trusted with these Premier League players, because that helps. Obviously, Aziz didn't work, and as you guys have just said, Scarlett's not afraid to put a tackle in. I think that's something that Aziz did struggle with. He was kind of, I am Premier League. I'm just gonna, do the bare minimum, and I'll show my skill when I've got the ball. But you can't be like that in League One. And we saw with Bazunu, he gradually got better and better. He's going to go to the very top. Obviously, not at the top just yet, being at Scum. But yeah, I mean, Dane Scarlett, there's no reason why he won't, and there's a reason that Spurs picked him so highly.
Gaz, it takes an awful lot to play with. Go on. I was going to ask you, but go on.
Scarlett was obviously, it's a big call from Danny, because he's on 2 goals already, and obviously you want him to get a hat trick, don't you? Really, and obviously to bring him off, he didn't put his handbags down. He didn't have a hairdryer moment. He just come off. He's one of the team. You can tell he's not just by himself. He's there playing for the team, and I think that's what Danny looks at when he signs players. He wants them to be collectively, playing for each other, as opposed to being, that star, as we say,
And I think, on that, somewhat, I think bringing him off on a brace is massive. I think that's really clever from Danny. It's going to make him really he knows what he feels like to get 2. Can he get 3 before he gets called off next time? So it's exciting stuff.
It's an incentive, isn't it? And Adam, to be able to play with such confidence as an 18-year-old, he's younger than me, would you believe?
You're a young man, aren't you, Tom? You're a young man, but I think he's learning from the best, though. I'm not saying Marlon Pack, but he has got Harry Kane, who he's also been playing with previously at Spurs. So you could tell by the way that he, on that second goal there, that it almost looked like he was going to go the far end, but he hit it near post, fooling the goalkeeper, who was absolutely fuming about it. But yeah, you can tell he's just got.
And that's weak foot as well. It's not even the strong foot. So he's just flow and confidence. And that's what these games are. The Papa John's, that's the reason for these cup games like that. They're giving so much confidence to these players like Scarlett, come off the bench, score a goal there. That's the key to them for us this season. I want us to go out probably in the group stage, have a few games where players are able to get a bit more match fitness at the start of the season. And then we go out, don't need to worry about any of their knockouts. But it's small things like that Scarlett's getting more and more minutes, more goals, and taking into the league.
Right, let's chat about Dane Scarlett, and I'm sure we'll come back to him in just a moment. Before we get back to Dane Scarlett, and I've just noticed we're not going to do the Peterborough stats because they're not there. But I can tell you that they edged us in possession slightly, Gaz. The stats would suggest that, but the stats are also on our favour in terms of expected goals. I think we did enough to win the game, and should have probably been 2-1 up at half-time.
Yeah, I think we made it hard for ourselves, and I think that happened in midfield, because even though Pack had a good game, when he's not playing at that level where he has played already this season, you can see a little bit of imbalance in midfield, So where before we could get away, we can't really get away with 1 or 2 players having a bad game from last season. This time, if Pack has a slight bad game in midfield, we will struggle a little bit, but not as much as has happened in previous seasons. But yeah, obviously once we went 1-0 down, we showed resilience, and you said that a lot in your video yesterday. We had the resilience, and that's what we have this season amongst the squad. So yeah, to get that goal back in before half time was perfect. And then again, that whatever they say in half time, I don't know whether it's a Louis Tomlinson video or something. There's something happening in that video, in that dressing room at half time. But they come out again all fired up, whether they're losing or winning. And it's great to see.
And the nature of the wins, Aaron, as well. It shows the nature of what Danny and Nicky are trying to achieve here, and more broadly the football club. I know we're already a month in, but it's demonstrating it, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I keep pinching myself every single morning at the moment, thinking, is this really happening at the moment? I know it's still early days. It was only 6 games in, 1 draw, 5 wins on the bounce. But I like where we are at the moment. We'd love it 6 months' time to be in the same position. But as long as we take each game step by step, don't get too ahead of ourselves. But we're playing as a team. We're playing as a unit. And when was the last time we were all able to actually say that this is a team that are playing together and they want to progress? We've had headaches and arguments over the years of he who should not be named and his tactics and everything, that only players play in the winter months, and this player's not fit, and that player our main captain. But this team, they're all playing for each other and themselves as well. And so whatever Danny and Nicky's doing, it's fantastic. And like,
is your dog translating what you're saying in the background?
Well, we're trying. Mrs. Fishtank's in the kitchen training the dog at the moment, so
right.
So it's a bit. Even the door's shut as well.
I thought you were about to say that's Mrs. Fish Tank in the kitchen. Then I was a bit worried where you going with that one. A word on the crowd. Delighted to see so many comments on the video saying how well the atmosphere was reflected, Aaron, and I hope that came through your screen. And I appreciate it was there. I'm actually the only one on the panel who was present at Fratton Park yesterday, which is, it's a surprise. But how important is the crowd to us winning the tight games, and how important is it for when the likes of Plymouth and Bolton, who've already said are coming down to Fratton Park in a couple of weeks, be important then as well?
Oh, it'd be massive. At the end of the day, when Fratton is a fortress and our fans are behind the team, you just can't compete. Like Ronaldinho, Alex Ferguson, all them players in the past and everything that come to Fratton Park, even Thierry Henry said we've never experienced something like that. They've played in 100,000 seater stadium. They're coming to little old Portsmouth, and they said sometimes it rocks. And when we get behind that team, it is deafening. I didn't actually get to watch the game because I was travelling back yesterday from the Lake District. But then when I saw the highlights and you could hear the fans, it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. This is what we've been missing years and years and years. And it's their credit. When our fans get behind us, we're unstoppable. We are the 12th man. And teams are going to absolutely be petrified to come to Fratton this season.
Aaron, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to mute you until we come to you next. That's not being rude, but turn him off. Charlie said, why are people surprised? Oh, he's gone. Why are people surprised? He's had enough. He's going to tell Mrs. Fish Tank where to stick it. Why are people surprised by this? Cowley's record speaks for itself. They do this everywhere they go. Gaz, we got to remember, they had a great, I know they wasn't the most successful time at Huddersfield, but Lincoln, I know a Lincoln fan, Jake, very well. He came onto the stream a couple of weeks ago. He was singing his praises, and they've had a fantastic record. And once they have the players with fingerprints of Cowley on them, I should say, there's no stopping us, is there?
For sure, yeah. And also where they've been before, they embed themselves not only in the team, but in the community. That's why, around Lincoln and stuff like that, that's why they love them as well. Even like, with Portsmouth, he's going to the girls' teams. He's looking at the youth development. He gets what Portsmouth are about, and and we've embraced them as well. But now, like you're saying, this team is pretty much on his ethos. Really, he's playing, a team that, that in positions that he wants and players that will play for him. And this transfer, this window that we've had is one of the best we've had in a very long time. And I can see exciting things coming.
We'll chat transfer windows at the other side of the previews. I think this is I was going to go to one below this, but this is a good comment too. Fangs seem unified with the team and the manager this season. Going to be very important that this continues into the winter months. We're bound to get injuries, etc. Reading that, I hadn't read it before I put it up on the screen. I thought it was going to say winter months when everyone sort of wraps up cold and goes quiet, but I'm sure that won't be the case if the football's still warming us up. Poirier, well, our midfield looked second best yesterday. Not sure we'll see a better midfield than Posh this season. Defence was great despite the Morrison gaff, and I know we saw it live and the ball getting stuck under his feet, and it's unfortunate because we actually started really well. I thought we had a really good 5 minutes initially, and it looked like we were going to set the tone for the game. That midfield and the fact that we won't see a better midfield than Posh, how nice is it to think that we weren't quite at our best and we still managed to cope yesterday?
And we've not got Thompson, have we? And we're still doing well. We've got real depth in our midfield. Morel as well. Pat, it's just incredible. Again, going back to the depth. Incredible depth. Yeah. Kept it short and sweet.
That's it, mate. That's all. You like doing that, don't you, Adam? The Cowleys are so underrated. They bring more than just football, and we're very lucky to have them. Pompey in it. Mush has said he's a brilliant ambassador for Pompey. Ryan has asked, this will come to you, Aaron, if you want, because I know you're a Minoga fan. Are you going to talk about his debut for Gillingham lasted less than 10 minutes, or was it 10 minutes? I haven't seen it. Has anyone seen it?
No, I haven't actually seen it. I know he got it was two yellow cards to get the red card. But yeah, silly ball. I think he was trying to prove a point and everything yesterday, but obviously went the wrong way. I don't know what happened. I never saw it. I just read about it. So yeah, silly lad. 3-game ban now.
It's a great fish tank, says Graham. I want to talk about the shirt as well, Aaron, very quickly. We've got some time.
Spin around.
Yeah, give us a twirl. Careful, because the camera might go flying.
Yeah. Like last week. Yeah, I got Portsmouth one on the back as well.
There you go. Where did you get that from, Aaron? If people want one,
eBay. I got it for £21 as well. 21 quid bargain. I've seen the exact shirt going for about 70 quid on eBay. It was just amazing. I looked at it and I thought, right, and then I waited for the 3 seconds to go and I bid on it and then I won it for 21 quid. It was like, wow, couldn't believe it. But I've always wanted 94, 95 season. I think this one is from.
We don't want to. I mean, that is a way. That is the. Sorry, let me try and say what I'm saying. Let me get it right in my head first before it comes out my mouth. That is. No, the third kit is the B-Tech version of that from last season. Sorry, I got myself mixed around, but it's that. And there's a few more like that, aren't there? Red and black. We've been partial to red and black over the years. So I've
seen the one with the stripes and everything as well. And like this is very similar to last season's, but at least it all lines up properly. Like last season, I didn't get it last because it was just off. You had that strange little square at the back. It was like, nah, I didn't want that. But I've always wanted one with a crest on it as well. So it's really good condition as well. Really good condition. So God knows what they were doing with it. Must have just left it in a drawer somewhere since '95.
We should say if you want to get the third kit from last season, they're doing them on offer for $34.95 or so at the club shop. So I wouldn't.
Not after Aaron's just slayed it. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly. We'll give them right to apply, haven't we? I wonder if the fans would have stuck with jacket longer than had he engaged with the fans and the Cowleys have. Gaz, you mentioned about how well connected Danny Cowley is and Nicky is with the supporters. You mentioned he's been down at the girls' games. I remember he did something for Pompey in the community not too long ago ahead of a busy schedule for him. There was never any of that from Kenny Jackett, was there? There was never a loop round the pitch and an applaud to the North Stand and the Fratton end and giving it one of those. How far does that go for Danny and Nicky on their side in terms of they're almost, I'm not going to say the word unsackable, but it'll be difficult to get rid of them where there is this much of a connect?
Oh, for sure. I don't know. We support the manager. It doesn't matter who comes in. We want the team to do well. And obviously, Jackett come in, and we thought, he'd done well with previous jobs. He got Wolves promoted in the past, and we thought he had some credentials. But he literally had, no personality. He had no connection. It was like the black hole sometimes. He'd stand on the type, arms crossed, and it was like, you didn't know what was going in that head of his. Like, we're all shouting at the screen, make subs and stuff like that. And it was like, he just looked confused half the time. So, obviously we were sort of like ready for him to go. And then obviously when he went, and we've so moved on since then. And obviously, he failed at Leighton wherever he went after that. I don't even know where he is now. But look at us now. We should have done the change earlier, obviously, but it is what it is. And now the Cowleys, they've been here now for, a couple of years now. It's sort of going on now, isn't it? And now hopefully this season, championship.
Love it. Welcome to the 156 people that join us across YouTube and Facebook. Very good evening to you. Leave the stream a like if you're enjoying the conversation this evening. We've got plenty more to come. We've got to talk about our transfer window because we're now into September. We've got Player of the Month, Goal of the Month award to come as well. That poll is running in the live chat right now. And that is what we're going to tell you about. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the potentials for Goal of the Month this month. Tonight, we will be picking a Fournilwrittenalloverit Goal of the Month for August, and here are the contenders. Joe Piggott's goal against Cardiff, which sent me a bit mental. The fourth goal against Cambridge United, provided by none other than Connor Ogilvie. Owen Dale's header in the last minute against Bristol Rovers at Fratton. or Dane Scarlett's first ever senior goal against Port Vale. You can vote right now in the poll in the live chat, and the result will be announced at the end of the show.
There we go. So you've got plenty of time. We're going to announce the winner in probably 15, 20 minutes or so. So get yourselves on the poll in the live chat down below. Good evening to Graham, who joins us on Facebook. He said, I'm optimistic of great things to come this season. Johnny has said, think the Eisners also deserve a mention. Wasn't too long ago, there was lots of noise with people calling them for go to go and to sell up. Now look where we are. And Gaz said exactly that. Look where we are, Alex. But maybe we go one notch further than Danny and say right at the top of the tree.
Yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't be looking at that. We've shown, beating Peterborough yesterday is a massive scalp. Obviously, we've got to go and get something away as well. We're not, discounting that. It is only, 7 games in. But, yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing as well, us not being at the top of the league right now. I think you just got to be there or thereabouts at Christmas. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves thinking that we're going to win the league like we had with Jacket that year. And obviously, we saw how that went. I don't think we'd have that same capitulation with the Cowleys, but you just never know. When players are top of the league, they can take their foot off the gas, and I don't see why we should be doing that. But in saying that, I don't see players like Marlon Pack letting this team do that, which I think is a massive difference. To have players in there that have kind of done this all before. It's the first time Pack's been in League One. He's not going to want to do another season here, is he? So he's going to be able to say, okay, well, I pretty much spearheaded this team to get us back to the Championship, where I've played every other game in my career. And as Gaz was saying, him not being fully on the pace, just to note on that, him not being fully on the pace is still the best midfielder in League One. He's just, usually a Championship quality player. So, yeah, it's a luxury we've got this season. But, we're in a good place.
I think that applies to quite a lot of the players, actually, isn't it? You think about the ones that have Championship pedigree. I'm thinking Owen Dale. I'm thinking about, some of the boys that have been in the Championship.
It started.
It's begun.
Nick has said, I'm so damn pleased our team gives us the confidence that we'll always come back. I got fed up with building a papetic ulcer in previous years. Thanks for that use of vocabulary, Nick. I enjoyed that. I'd come to you on this one, Adam, while I go and sort myself out, both light-wise and my own self personally. What have you made of the way in which the confidence is... Sorry, that was a wrong choice of words. It wasn't going there. I was going the other way. What have you made of what Nick's had to say there? And the fact that actually, if Pompey do go a goal down, like we did against Peterborough on Saturday, it was never... You're right there, mate. What are you up to?
I'm just rubbing my legs. They're a bit chilly, mate. I've got the window wide open.
He's got a great answer coming for you.
Yeah. I am
ready.
I've got something brewing. I've got the confidence now.
I am... Quickly, pull it back to go before we get taken off the airwaves. What do you reckon about what Nick's been saying? And also, what do you reckon about kind of the way in which we can go a goal down, even against a team like Peterborough United, and never really be in any doubt that we're going to lose the game?
I think the team have confidence, mate. I think they know that they're going out there and they can perform well in front of the front end, in front of the fans, and also away from home as well. I know all the guys agree with me. I think we know that dressing room has real character and confidence. I think Marlon Pack is a great leader for us in the dressing room. Someone who's a Pompey boy through and through, is able to draw that spirit out of us. I'm sure Ronan's there as well. I'm fully confident that they are actually able to just pull together something for us. They embrace us and they embody what we are saying. I don't know what you guys are thinking about.
Yeah, I was going to say as well on Ronan, obviously, I think Tom said, bar Ronan, it's pretty much been, this is now Danny's team. But I think, he's kept Ronan in. I'm not sure if he would have, we would have sold him if the right offer had come in. But I think there's a difference in Curtis in the fact that he, I think, is a less selfish player now. Obviously, there's times when players like that are going to be selfish. They want to score goals. They want to get assists. That's how those players do so well. You look at Ronaldo, etc. I'm not saying, Ronan Curtis is Ronaldo. But, I think you see a bit of a different side to him. Cowley's obviously moulded him and said, this has got to be a team game for us to go up here. And I think he's just really bought into the Cowleys, as I think the rest of the players have done, and therefore, it's conveyed onto the fans.
Right, plenty more to come from these gents in a couple of moments. As a fabulous suggestion by Gaz earlier on today, we're going to take a look at some player ratings from the Peterborough United game. Here we go. Oh, why has it not got any sound? Can anyone hear anything, or is it just my own voice?
No, I can just hear you,
It's
mate.
Just my own voice.
All I
Okay,
need.
I forgot to put the old, but that's all you need. There we go. Let me take away the banner a second so we can have a proper look at that. But that is what it's looking like right now. Starboy Dane Scarlett 8.4. That sort of left-hand side of Pompey's pitch, which is on the right-hand side of your screen, looking good in the green. Obviously, Morrison's is going to drop off a little bit due to the fact that he's let that goal in. I wonder how we're feeling. I'll throw him back onto the screen so we can kind of see what those were. I know that was a quick flash up. Everyone's going to do that thing where they wave around the what's it in a minute. There we go. We'll come to Gaz first, in as he's slightly out of shot. This was your plan, mate. Would you agree with the numbers that you're seeing on the screen?
I thought Griffiths had a better game. I think that was one of his better games yesterday. So I would have gone maybe a 7. I know it's only. So is that about a 5.5? Is that 5 point or 6.5?
6.
6, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's probably about right, maybe a 7 for him. But yeah, overall, obviously, Dane, top man yesterday. Yeah, that's about, to be honest, I would say about 7s, I think. Only that one mistake really for Morrison. Obviously, Pack was off the pace a little bit yesterday, so that's a bit generous for him, maybe. But, he's still great, even if he's a 5. Like Alex said, he's got that championship pedigree. Just to have him in our squad, that's a massive incentive for Portsmouth.
Aaron, just quickly before we get on to the Barnsley preview with Taylor, what are you making of those numbers? I was a little bit upset that Owen Dale's got a 6.3 there. I thought we did a bit better than that.
Yeah, I thought he'd done better than that. Not sure why it's only 6.3. Even with Curtis as well, it's nice actually seeing with a good rating. He's not thrown his toys out of the pram like previous seasons. He's actually doing a team effort as well.
Team first.
Yeah, it's team first now. So it's that you can understand Morrison losing that little bit because little mistake and everything. But overall, I think that's a good reflection of the game yesterday.
Just on Josh Griffiths, like Gaz said, I think that's. You can't give him 6.5 when, I think that strike from Jonathan Clark-Harris 7 minutes in, it's an unbelievable save. I don't know if you think he's got enough credit for that. But without that save, we're 2-0 down and there's an absolute mountain decline. Not to say this team couldn't do it, but 2-0 is a lot longer way to go than it was at 1-0. So I think Josh Griffiths, definitely deserves a bit more.
Everyone has different opinions about player ratings and stuff like that, don't they? Cool. Everyone has. I'd give slightly higher. For that save alone, and even his distribution yesterday was a lot better than it has been in the past. So even Danny's obviously moulding him into a better player already. So long may it continue.
Well, Gaz will be pleased about this. We've gone big. We're going to look at overall player ratings for the season thus far later on in the show. So we'll have that combined for you here on Fournilwrittenalloverit. Before we do so, Adam's rubbing his legs at the thought of that. Shauna said, "Who are we going to lose to?" And then the reply was, "No one, Sean, we're going to be invincible." Stefan has very kindly donated us $5. He says, "I'm a new Pompey fan following the Cowleys less than 2 years ago in from Huddersfield. They did an incredible job and they are repeating it here." Stefan, there is no need to pay for 4-0 Sunday Live, but we very much appreciate you doing so. Dylan, who is a man that I see at almost every game at the minute, said, "Keep up the great videos. Tom Ogilvie is the GOAT." And he is. If you watch Port Vale away, you would have seen Dylan in the video and he came up to me at Fratton Park yesterday too. Right, okay, let's move on then. We're going to have a look ahead now. We'll come back to the Peterborough conversation. As I said, we've got transfers, also got a Golden Player of the Month to give as well. So busy, packed out show. We'll get the scores rolling back across your screen as well. Very quickly, before we do have a look into the Barnsley game coming up, and we're going to speak to Taylor in just a moment, let's take a look at some of the statistics for Barnsley's season thus far. And again, that one hasn't got any music on it because I've absolutely had a mare. So seeing as we're a little way into the season, we'll begin to look at the stats from the opposition rather than just a preview here on a Sunday night. Albeit take this with a pinch of salt as we are still very early days indeed. What's the what are we looking at here? Quick note: the reason why there's no biggest loss for Pompey, by the way, is we're yet to lose a game yet. Big grin on everyone's face as I say that. Form-wise, could be described as indifferent for Barnsley. Bear in mind though that they have approached it. How have you approached it against your?
Could have lost you. No, maybe one more than you can have one. No, he's playing for
me. I don't think he knows he's here, is he? He's just carrying on his chat. He doesn't think he's here. Taylor, you there, mate?
Classic 11.
Hello.
Hello, mate. Sorry.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. You must be buzzing after Hillsborough.
Oh yeah, mate. That was class away day.
Tell us about it.
Well, obviously we went into it off the back of a 2-2 draw with Ipswich. Most fans weren't very optimistic, but we went there and played off park. It was nice to see their fans walking out with 10 minutes to go. Great atmosphere, and obviously we beat them 2-0. So hopefully this can be a kickstart to a bit of run that we can get on.
I've done my homework, Taylor. Pompey fans on the live might not know this, but quite an underwhelming transfer window for you boys. Didn't get that all-important striker that you were hoping for. Yet you've got a really crucial win against Sheffield Wednesday, and you've taken points away from Portman Road as well already this season. So tell us what's going on at Barnsley at the minute.
Well, obviously last year were terrible transfer-wise. A lot of hate towards the owners. We've had a bit of a change of who's running the board and that, but obviously, like you mentioned, after this transfer window, we've signed a lot of free signings and not spent much money on the players that we need to build a team. So there's been obviously a lot of frustration from fans because we didn't get that all-important striker, like you mentioned, because the main thing we've lacked over the last few years is scoring goals. Obviously, we've got a great manager in Michael Duff who's getting more out of these players that underperformed last year or we didn't expect to do as well. So obviously, last 2 games we picked up a bit of form. Ipswich, we could have easily won that and we could have easily lost that. They had some great chances. We both got a penalty. And then, obviously, on Saturday, yesterday were best performance of the season. We just seemed like a different team. A couple of new signings there, but still the main strikers that we didn't expect to score goals. Both strikers scored, Devante Cole and Norwood. So it's looking promising going forward despite not signing the players that we thought we could.
You've mentioned form there. Let's take a look then. Obviously, take this with a bit of a pinch of salt, as I said, because there's some cup games and some trophy games in there. That, to me, looks like a new manager trying to work out how he wants to play. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%. He's coming with a brand new squad, obviously. He's mentioned how a couple of transfers fell through towards the end of transfer window. So he's probably not working with the full squad that he wants to. So he's got to mix and match and try and adapt with what he's got. A couple of games, like the Wickham game, we were 1-0 down at half-time. He changed formation at half-time. That didn't work, and we ended up with 3-0. So, like you say, he is experimenting and he's just trying to work with what he's got at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you were a Pompey fan right now and you were going up to Barnsley, going up to Oakwell next weekend, how would you set up your team to play your own team, as it were? So how would you see it from an opposition view if you were coming to play your team?
Well, we obviously play with a back 3 or back 5, whatever you want to call it. We've got our 3 centre-backs are good with anything in front of them. But obviously, out in behind, if you can, Sheffield Wednesday tried to exploit it Saturday, but luckily we got away with it because our keeper made a few good saves. But if you can get a ball in behind or behind our wing backs, a bit of pace on back line, that's probably your best bet of scoring.
Okay. And players to look out for from a Barnsley point of view?
Main one is probably a new signing this season, Luke O'Connell at middle. He started well this season, got quite a few assists, and he just seems to get it ticking. He started at middle of the park with Benson yesterday. Benson went off injured, and he stayed in there and still controlled it. Man marking Barry Bannon, who we know is a great player out of the game. So I'd say him, and also Jack Aitchinson in behind. He's only got 1 goal this season, but he's had a lot of chances and look like he can get some more if he finishes some of these chances.
And what are the general expectations for Barnsley this season in terms of finishing? Are you looking to bounce straight back up, or what's the general state of play for you?
Well, obviously, when any team comes back down, they want to go straight back up. But we all know League One's getting harder and harder every season. So that task of going straight back up is not as easy as we think. Based off the transfer window and, like you say, not getting the players we want, at the end of last season, we all wanted top 6. And then when I saw the signings, I said about mid-table. But if obviously consistency is key for us, we can obviously beat Wednesday, then we'll go and lose to a bottom of league side because that's just how we've been playing this season. But I'd like to say top 6, but I reckon it's going to be tough. But I reckon it'll be just outside if I had to guess.
Alex, what are you expecting for Pompey's trip to Oakwell next weekend? Tough one. You know, that form doesn't really tell you a lot in terms of what we can expect.
No,
yeah, I mean, I think
Sorry, mate.
Come on, mate.
To Alex, we'll come back
sorry,
on Barnsley.
sorry.
No, I was
That's
just
all
going
right.
to say, I think obviously it's going to be a tough game. Any side in this division that's a big club, which, you know, Barnsley are going to be, there's going to be a lot of fans there. Not that the players should, you know, fold under that, because we have Fratton Park every other week. But yeah, I mean, the question to you, Taylor, like, it looks like your away form is okay, and then your home form, you can be a bit like you've lost 3-0 back to back, really. I mean, 10 days apart, you said he changed the formation at Wickham, and then you lost 3-0 again 10 days later. So it's a bit like, did anything change there, or was it just another experiment that went wrong?
Probably, like you say, just an experiment, just the manager trying to change things up. There's like, when you look at chemistry between the team, there's still a lot of new players in that aren't used to playing with each other, and there's still a lot of young players in there that aren't actually had much experience. So it's just about experimenting, trying to get them all to gel together. Obviously, when you come to our place, it's going to be a very tough test. You're a good organised side. You started great, and you'll come at us. So hopefully we can put up a fight against it.
Yeah,
Ben
I think
said,
that, I mean, look
sounds
at
like
those.
a Dane field day. Alex, Dane Scarlett.
Yeah, well, I mean,
two.
I was thinking about it. You know, you say getting in behind. Dane Scarlett is there. Marlon Pack is fierce. He can pick the ball. It sounds like it's another 3-0 for us, I've got to say. But I just think your fixtures haven't exactly been easy, to be fair. Like, you've not played all the bottom teams or anything. I mean, it's obviously disappointing losing to Lincoln as you did. But yeah, I don't think there's probably that much reason to be upset. Like you say, it's a lot of new players. You've come down, not spent any money really. See where you are at Christmas, but obviously got to hope that we take 3 off you on the weekend.
We'll see what happens. Gaz, just quickly, Dan has said, listening to this, they might struggle to contain Owen Dale, and that's another name that could cause Barnsley problems at Oakwell.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment we're blessed with midfield. At the moment, you know, even substitutions. You know, if we're not obviously dictating the game on Saturday, we've got strength and depth to come on. I think the difference between us and Barnsley, I don't think Barnsley have their first 11 at the moment. The probably manager's still tinkering with the formation. You know, like the guest said there, doesn't know what his first 11 is. I think we're pretty much know where Danny is at the moment with our first 11. So we're probably ticking a bit forward and probably a bit more ahead of Barnsley. Barnsley will be there and thereabouts near the end of the season. They always will be. But at the moment, we're going to probably play them at the right time. With our back-to-back games at the moment, with our wins that we've had on, and obviously Barnsley inconsistent at the moment, it'd be a good time to play them. So I'm looking forward to Saturday. It'll be a good game.
There you go. Taylor Williams said, great new segment, keep previews coming. That's probably more aimed at you as a Barnsley fan than it is us Pompey fans, but there you go. Adam, you expecting a tough one from Oakwell? Pompey been, well, decent overall, but decent on the road thus far. Yet to drop many points, yet to lose a game away from home.
I am expecting a tough one. Obviously, going off from a win through Sheffield, I think they're still going to have maybe a bit of momentum off that. That's a big win, obviously, for them. So I think it is going to be a tough one for us. But I was going to pose the question to Taylor of, did you see any weaknesses in your team that Pompey could actually pounce on?
Based on the Sheff Wednesday game, I think it'd just be the same thing that I mentioned earlier with the ball in behind. Like I said, our 3 centre-backs are very good with the ball in front of them, but out in behind could cause a massive problem. But obviously, we can't guarantee that we're going to play that good, like back-to-back games, because consistency has been an issue over the last few years for us, and especially this season. So hopefully we can, like you say, use that momentum and turn up the same against you, but it's going to be an interesting one.
Amazing. Well, and if you like what you hear from Taylor, then you know where to find him. First link in the description for his channel. I can exclusively reveal, I'm sorry to reveal here on 4-0 Sunday Live, that I won't be making the trip to Oakwell next weekend. We've got a cut. Basically, we've got a bit of a, I won't say it on here because he won't be watching. There's a surprise birthday party for someone very special who you may or may not know. He sits next to me in the car and he doesn't have any hair. There you go. So that gives it away. But we won't be making the trip. So if you want to see what happened from a fan's point of view, albeit not a Pompey one's, then Taylor's channel's in the first link in the description. Get on that. And Taylor, tell us a little bit about what you do, mate, for Barnsley on tour.
Well, mainly last season, I went to every game, home and away. Obviously, it was a terrible year last us, but I braved it with all my mates. We went to every game, and obviously, I bring the match day vlog, mainly for the people that, like for you on Saturday, you can't make it, or like maybe for fans that are abroad or people that are just busy in general. I like to bring a match day vlog. I try to be as neutral as possible. Like if you guys go and win 2-0, I'm not going to sit here and slag your team off, say you didn't deserve it. I'll be honest and like try to give a good neutral perspective. I don't want to be that guy that's biased and always moaning. And obviously, I just like to show the atmosphere to the people that are out there and let them feel like they're part of it when they're.
And we know a couple of those that are biased and always moaning, don't we? Taylor, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it. And we are looking forward to next weekend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, mate.
It's time to crown the winner of Fournilwrittenalloverit's Goal of the Month for August. A quick reminder of the contenders. Joe Piggott's goal against Cardiff, which sent me a bit mental. The fourth goal against Cambridge United provided by none other than Connor Ogilvie. Owen Dale's header in the last minute against Bristol Rovers at Fratton. Or Dane Scarlett's first ever senior goal against Port Vale. There's still a couple of seconds to vote in the poll in the live chat.
Still a few more seconds to vote in the poll in the live chat, absolutely. I cannot believe this. Fresh off the pitch from Old Trafford, Cristiano Ronaldo joins us in the chat. He says this Pompey team is very exciting. Cristiano, I'm glad you're keeping across all things Pompey. I know you've got a busy schedule. Shauna said, loving the fish tank, Aaron, nice shirt too. Welcome to Retro Shirt. Shauna joins us on Facebook. Paul said Barnsley is going to be a tough test for us, absolutely. But the conversation now, Paul, is no longer about Barnsley. The conversation is about our Goal of the Month award. Gaz, who gets your vote from those four, if you can remember them?
I'll go for Connor, the Terminator. You know, we saw him out in Spain and he's progressed on since then. He offers a lot to this squad. So I'm going to go with Mr. Connor.
Poirier, what are you thinking?
He did a better one at Sheffield, actually. I thought his header was better at Sheffield.
I couldn't do Sheffield, mate. It was in July.
Oh, yeah. It was on the edge. It was on the edge, wasn't it? July, August. Yeah.
On the cusp. I would love to go for the Pigott one just for the sheer voice break, I think.
Oh,
but no, I do have to agree with Gaz. I think the Ogilvie control to bring it down into the net. My Goal of the Month.
Sean's gone for Owen Dale's, Aaron. And so there's a little bit of a split. Fortunately and unfortunately, not many people agree with Adam Poirier. Currently 12% of the vote is for Joe Piggott's against Cardiff City. Aaron, what's your pick, mate? What are you going for?
They're all good. I think I might have to agree with Gaz, actually. Oh, second one.
Carry on.
I think I might have to go with Gaz. Agree with Gaz, really. And I've worked something out as well. Have we scored more goals with headers this season than we did in the last 3 years?
Oh, don't throw a stat out there like that, Aaron. Someone will go, no, actually, it was 3 less headers than last season. We'll see.
I think we couldn't score headers before, could we? And now they're coming every single week.
We had a bit of a thing, didn't we? I remember at Crewe, we started to score a load of headers last season for some... Anyway, someone get on that stat. If you've got the time and inclination, get on it. I'm sure you will. Before we speak to Alex, he won't have the casting vote because 134 odd people have already had the casting vote. But I'll read out the percentages. Joe Pigott versus Cardiff City, 12%. Connor Ogilvie versus Cambridge United, a whopping 45%. A lot of people with Gaz and Adam and some of the other gents on the stream. Owen Dales versus Bristol Rovers has got 17%. And then, to be fair to Dane Scarlett, a close second with 26% for his goal against Port Vale. I know you're probably not influenced by the crowd, Haywood, but any sort of perception change on what you were going to go for?
I mean, I think all of the goals have good elements to them. I mean, Pigott is the voice break and the scenes afterwards. Scarlett is because it's his first goal and it's the pass through from Pack. But I do, and I think obviously Ogilvie is great. It shows we've got a left back who's storming on. He's in the 6-yard box, volleying home. But I've got to say Owen Dale's goal because I just think it's against Joey Barton. It was in a game like that. It's emphatic the way he's just slammed that header in, diving header in front of the front end. But yeah, it was a close one between Ogilvie and Dale, but I'm going to go with Dale.
Right, Aaron, I'm going to give you a very important job now. We're going to do the promos so I get a chance to do my light. So if you wouldn't mind talking us through these, I'll tell you when to start talking, all right? Just speak through how excited you are about the games. You've got 44.5 seconds on the promo. Right, Aaron. Oh no, I can't unmute. You've chosen to mute yourself, you muppet. Oh no, everyone's done that, have they? Right, I'll have to. Right, we'll come off that. Oh no, you can talk. Go on, go for it. Go.
Right, so upcoming matches, we have Barnsley next week. It's going to be a very tough one. That then we're away to Burton.
20 seconds, Aaron. 20 seconds.
And then we got a massive game at home to Plymouth. Then we got Bolton again, and then we're looking forward to, I hope,
10 seconds, Aaron.
A few of the crew going to Ipswich. Then we got EFL Cup, not worried about that. Then Fleetwood.
3, 2, 1. Lovely.
Well done, mate. That was quite good. I thought that went quite well. Congratulations.
Yeah, but if you had actually seen my face, I was like this. I couldn't read the thing. It's so small.
Right, player of the month time. We haven't got we haven't got any graphics or anything like that for this, because I think it's probably all going to go one way. Gaz, feel free to get in some honorary mentions in there, mate, because I'm sure there's one or two that you'd like to give a shout out for. But I reckon it's going to be your man Marlon Pack.
Yep, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he's running that engine in midfield, and without the midfield, obviously, you ain't gonna. I mean, look at our midfield last season when we had we had Naylor, we had Bryn Morris. We had Close was okay now and again. We were weak. We were being bullied. In that midfield, and it didn't matter how good we were in defence, and we weren't that great going up front. So it's good that we can have goal of the month now this season, because we didn't score many goals last season, so we can have.
We would have been scraping the barrel last year, wouldn't we? A couple of months.
We would have had the best conceded goal, probably. That would have been a good segment.
There were a few good ones.
Yeah, Ragged probably would have got most of them. But yeah, Marlon Pack for me, coming back, Pompey boy. He's running that midfield, and he's playing well with what's around him. He's looking around. He does that chest pass to him. He looks big. Yeah, he looks great. I'm very happy that he signed, and like I say, he's another level that we should get to for next season.
Johnny's just said, could we wish a very happy birthday to my lad Reese, who's turned 9 on Tuesday, please. Tom's a big fan of the channel. Massive happy birthday, Reese. I'm sorry that you might have had to watch a horrendous game on Tuesday night on your birthday, but we'll try and do better for you next year. On the player of the month, I reckon Gaz probably mentioned the Terminator, but a lot of people shouting for Ogilvy. Dane Scarlett could be up there in terms of sort of a real flourishing period, Adam, maybe getting his first senior goals, stepping into men's football, but I think Ogilvy might take it for you, but probably Marlon Pack.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with Gaz. I'm going with Pack. Pack is back in the Portsmouth. There is a strong contention for Ogilvy, of course. Like unexpected goals in the baggage area for Mr. Conor Ogilvy, coming in there, swooping in with the headed goals. Really impressed with him. Yeah, being really impressed with him and doing incredibly defensively as well. But it's got to be Marlon Pack for me. Just the morale he brings and the team spirit, you can tell on and off the pitch. I always see him in the comments of the instas of all the players. Just
that P&O Ferry comment is fantastic.
Just cheering them on. Yeah, he is one of us. He is one of us, and he's proving it out there.
Brendan, who we have to say a very warm welcome to, has said Bishop has a lack of goals, but works so damn hard, wins so many headers. It's amazing, Aaron, that if we had done this probably 3 weeks ago, everyone might have gone Colby Bishop with Marlon Pack, and it had been a toss-up. But that's kind of dwindled a little bit, and it's not to say that he's lost it in any way, shape, or form, because he's still performing really well. But a bit of a goal drought for him at the minute. Who gets your vote for player of the match?
Yeah. Definitely the Packinator. It's got to be Pack. It's just everything's around him. It's just wherever he is, that's where the ball is going, controlled and everything. Yeah, Bishop's on and a little blip at the moment, but I'm not worried about that. He will get his goals. He will get his goals. But yeah, at the moment, everything's going through Pack. So yeah, definitely him. That's 3 of us so far. So
in any other period of games in the season, 4 goals in 7 for Colby Bishop is still a very good goal return, isn't it? So the fact that we're even talking about him, so we're having Packers number 1 for you, Aaron, and then what? Colby number 2, and then a number 3 for the Terminator. It's tough.
Yeah, I actually for number 3, Curtis. I say number 3, Curtis, only because he has improved his attitude this season so far. he seems to be a different player. There was talk about him going, but he's actually stepped up. He's not throwing his toys out of the pram. He's actually passing the ball. He's not just all about himself. He is the team player now. So, yeah, he's definitely up there as well, actually.
Phil has said Raggett and Conor Ogilvie have had a fair lot of headed goals this season. With all of this in mind, Leo said Pompey Player of the Month, the whole squad. You could, if you could give, we could maybe give it to all of them. But if we were going to whittle it down to one player, Haywood, I think you're going to go on the Packinator as well.
Yeah, I probably won't say Packinator, but I'll say Marlon Pack. No, I think he's been fantastic, obviously, and there's a different level between anyone that's played football. If you're in that centre of the park, you are that calming presence, you are that level above, and that's what he brings to his team. It doesn't really worry me now who goes next to him. I know that Tom Lowry's been absolutely fantastic as well. Miniesta, he's got that name for a reason. But I just think having someone like Marlon Pack next to you, you're always confident to try something, to go and do something that you might not do, if you don't have confidence next to you. Some of those weeks, I think, when Raggett has been off the boil in previous seasons, whoever's next to him, you think you haven't got the quality, you haven't got the confidence to try something because you lose the ball, there's going to be a problem. But I think with Marlon Pack, every week he's so consistently good. You can't give it to anyone else. But, as Leo says, the whole team deserve a mention. They've all been fantastic. That's what makes this conversation tough, which is refreshing, because usually it's, can I scrape one player that I think's actually been good for the whole month? But, so many of them have been so good. And I think one mention I do want to make is from Morrison. Obviously, yesterday he made that mistake, which was the first time I can think of that he has looked, there's been a problem with him. And I think he's just slotted straight in. There was a lot of chat about, his age and is he going to cut it? We've had these problems before, Sean Williams, etc. But he slotted right in. He doesn't look out of touch. And I think we've got such good, depth in that centre half positions now. It's just great to see.
And also, I would just go through a couple of these. Dylan, who's obviously a massive fan of Ogilvie, says got to be Ogilvie. Diggs has also said got to be up there, never puts a foot wrong. And just on Morrison as well, Haywood, if I fire one back across your wash, back towards you. Let's say that instead of trying to make up a word in my head. The Morrison, it's the personal nature as well. I don't know if you've seen any of his post-match interviews, but he really gets Pompey. He gets the boys rolled up. He was very apologetic after the game yesterday. I'm sure many of us have seen him speaking to the Pompey media team. But the fact that you can see his genuine character and work for the football club, not just the stuff he does on the pitch with his feet, but what comes out his mouth as well. Yeah,
I definitely think that that's the case. And it's just, we've got a few different types of centre half now, which is, I think, really important as well. Raggett, is just a complete warrior. He's going to, and I'm not saying the other two aren't, but, throw him. So I think he threw his head at someone's feet yesterday. I saw a comment somewhere saying that. And I think that Morrison's kind of the in-between between Robertson and Raggett. Robertson's more of a ball player and I want the ball. I'm going to, start playing football, whereas Raggett, you need that in the team. He's going to, run through brick walls for you. And I think that Morrison's a little bit of calming presence between them, kind of gets it. And I think, like you say, this team is just such a tight-knit unit, and that is so important for any promotion-winning season, for sure.
Amazing. We just had a bit of a spam bout there while Alex was talking, which I was hurriedly trying to sort out. But what we'll do is we will move on, and it's time for what we'll do is we'll talk transfers in just a moment. Before we do so, I want to squeeze in the player ratings that I promised across the whole of the game so far. I should stress this is coming up on your screen, and it is from, that's the wrong one. We're not going to talk about that one. That was the one from yesterday. That is the last starting 11. So across the season, the last starting 11 that started the game on Saturday, yesterday, this is what we're looking at. So we've got Colby Bishop on a 7.3, which, is a little bit, perhaps a little bit low in some people's books. Dane Scarlett 6.7 is probably because it's only just recently started to get going in the last two league games for him. Marlon Pack is a 7.5. I'm surprised by. I would say an 8 or so. I'm pleased with Raggett's in the green. I'm surprised by Dale on the right-hand side. Curtis, I think, has been playing out of his skin, and then Griffiths is almost a 7 there in goal. So, again, we'll come to Gaz first. I know you're the player ratings maestro. You're probably going to go a couple of notches higher than those, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely 7s across the board. I think it's taken them a while to get gelled with the new team. We were in Spain, weren't we, obviously? And we've seen a different team already, what was there before. Obviously, the transfer window that we're going to be talking about, the team's changed totally. They're still gelling. But, yeah, definitely minimum of 7s across the board there. For me, anyway.
Adam, is there a particular area that you're looking at thinking that's daylight robbery?
I think obviously Scarlett definitely deserves to be higher, along with Curtis, and even I would say Morrison as well. I think I'd give Pack a 10, being biased, obviously, but yeah, I agree with Gaz. I think we definitely deserve all 7s across the board. I think they hardly any of them have put a foot wrong, bar the 1 or 2 the odd mistake we've seen Raggett or maybe Morrison make. But yeah, I'd completely agree with Gaz.
I think we should say as well, this is based entirely on sort of statistics. So putting together the sort of the numbers and the shots and the big chances missed, all that kind of things. It's a very mathematical kind of formula and equation. If we look at it from more of a kind of opinionated fan point of view, I'm sure that we will have different opinions. We say 7s across the board. There aren't many, none of them are below a 6.7 on that screen there. So we're getting pretty close to the 7s. Aaron, looking at those, any that you are massively against?
Well, you still got to remember, it's still a young team. We're still only a couple of months together. So if they've been together for the last 18 months, 2 years, I can actually see us all being into up to the 8s. But at the moment, yeah, you could say some of them, like Scarlett, Curtis, a bit low. Morrison, 1 or 2 mistakes, but he should be up there as well. But yeah, still early days. But yeah, give it a couple more weeks and they'll all be in 7s.
Reference point, bottom right-hand corner of your screen for the man that's about to speak now. But you're looking at that, and it surprises me, actually, Alex, that all Marlon's registered in terms of goals is 2 assists. He feels like he's been doing so much more than that this season.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of cases where, he's the penultimate pass to the goal. I think he breaks up the play so well. There'll be so many times where he's made a tackle, that, in the end leads to the goal, or he's made that initial pass, which has put us through the lines. Yesterday putting a pass through to Koroma, I think it was him that put that pass through, and then he obviously got the assist himself. But yeah, I think some of these stats, these ratings, mate, are dubious. I don't know where you're finding these, but I'm thinking that it'd be literally worrying. Imagine our season last season or year before that. Some of our seasons with Jacket, they'd probably be in the 5s. It's just going off of mathematicals. But yeah, no, I think, like Aaron says, they should be higher as weeks go by. But we'll probably concede a goal or 2 or something, and Griffiths will go down to a 4 now in those stats.
We'll see. All right, not a fan of the stats. All right, we'll look for a different source of statistical information next week on 4-0 Sunday Live for your player ratings from Barnsley. Gaz, Koroma was mentioned by Alex there, and it was mentioned as a comment a little while ago on the stream as well. I think he really deserves a mention because a really good cameo appearance and set up the goal for Daney boy.
Yeah, 4 minutes. I think 4 minutes he was on the pitch. He was itching to get on there. Yeah, you can see why Danny's, he knows him from the past. He knows what he's about. And I think he's a perfect character just to slot in into that position. And yeah, so they say 4 minutes and an assist. I think it's a great.
Gaz, those stats on Wikipedia are looking pretty good. 4 minutes.
The other thing. Go on, Gaz.
Oh, I don't know. Was it? I think it was 4 minutes, wasn't it?
No, I'm just saying that he didn't have the best stats coming in, and now he's got an assist already in 4 minutes. So if we're going by that, he should be out.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
50 games.
It's one game, Hayward. He's got to prove it to everyone, and he one game.
Yeah,
4 minutes is all it was. What we should also say as well is he came on. His first touch was almost in the back of the net. I don't know if anyone saw that as well. Literally, the minute he came on, the first ball that pinged over, it would have nestled nicely. Had it nestled nicely, that would have been amazing. Right, it's almost time to chat transfer window, and who better to discuss that with than I'm pleased to announce, ladies and gentlemen, a journalist from Football Insider will join us very shortly, our very own Sam, who is smashing the game at the minute. Before we speak to him, Infinite Loop is looking forward to seeing Pack putting balls into space for Koroma, Dale, Scarlett to run onto. He might be doing that on the pitch as well at some point. Leo said this is the strongest side we've had in years, and Koroma being out of contract at the end of the season, which, I mean, hopefully the early signs are good, and we shall see. Right, let's bring him in then. Let's speak to Sam. Good evening, mate. Oh, we can't see him. His head's off. There we go. How are you?
Oh, no, I'm all right, mate. I'm in a really busy day this whole weekend. I mean, I couldn't get to the game yesterday. I was a bit annoyed because basically the 4 clubs that we cover usually split over between Saturdays and Sundays, but all of them are playing on Saturday. So it's a bit unfortunate. And obviously at the Old Firm derby as well. So it's been really busy. But yeah, I was on my phone the whole day yesterday, just keeping updated. And yeah, what a win that was! What a comeback! Yeah, I was not expecting it, especially when we were 1-0 down as well. Just kind of get that feeling. But yeah, what a win! And it sounded like an amazing atmosphere as well. Really good, another good day at Fratton Park, eh?
Tell us a bit about what you're doing at the minute, mate. So people that may not know.
Oh, so basically, I don't know if you've heard of a Football Insider. They often come out with some stuff about Pompey here and there. You know, there's transfer rumours and stuff like that. They started up some club sites specific to Premier League and Old Firm sites. So it's basically just kind of covering. We do Leeds, Everton, West Ham, Rangers. Basically, just keeping all fans up to date with all the things to do with those clubs. And yeah, it's good fun. Certainly learning a lot more about Premier League football and the Old Firm stuff. And yeah, there's some Leeds are a massive club, and the fans have certainly got some opinions. I mean, we think Pompey Twitter's bad, but there's some of these Premier League clubs go. Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, absolutely. We were going to use this little end segment of the show, Sam, to speak about transfers, and I thought the ideal person to chat to that about would be yourself. I think it's 12, and I think I'm right in saying that it's 12, and that there are a couple of loan deals in there. Overall, when you're comparing it to the rest of the League One business, there are very few clubs that have done more than that, but the quality of the transfers is something that really stands out this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've talked for everyone here, but when the window opened, and obviously we did take a long time to get going, and there is that kind of, you're a bit nervous, you're not really sure whether you're going to get the players through the door, but I think it has really kind of shone through, and that was the right approach to take. I think you see the likes of, I know Derby's the example I look at. Obviously, when they came out of administration, they made, it was like 5 or 6 signings in a day, and it's like, there's that approach you can take where you kind of throw a lot of money at it and really go for it like that, or you can do the kind of more methodical approach with what Danny Cowley's done, and and you've looked at some of the players we brought in. They're like the Tom Lowry signing that just came out of nowhere, and that there's been a lot of planning going into that. I mean, he was on. We do some West Brom stuff, and he was training with West Brom in the Championship. So there's been a lot of long-term planning going into it, and for me, this is probably the best window that we've had in League One, I'd say. I mean, we had a good one under Kenny Jackett. I think it was the second season, maybe there was a decent window there. But this, for me, is the window where the owners are really kind of, that they've answered a lot of critics and brought some real top quality players in, and even getting Karoma in at the last minute. I mean, he was a player in the Championship. He was performing for Huddersfield last year. Huddersfield fans rate him, and that's just kind of come out of nowhere. And I watched the ITV highlights last night, and I think it was Dean Ashton was saying like he doesn't know how we managed to get him on loan, and that was just like a last minute kind of signing just to add a bit more depth in attack. So that's showing as well. It's good, to be fair, we weren't scrambling around for those like last 3 or 4 signings at the end of the transfer window, because we have that so many times where with 3 or 4 short going into deadline day. But even if we hadn't signed Karoma last night, I still would have been very content with the window. I think it was a very good window overall. And it just shows if you get, if you plan properly, and I feel like Cowley has, you can really bring in some quality players that suit the system and suit the way we want to play. And it is panning out on the pitch now. That is, we're all seeing it. You can see this is Cowley's side and it's really working.
Gaz, Chris has said there, it was as if the Bishop business of Blackpool seemed to change everything. Maybe that was a little bit of a prerogative for Danny and Nicky. So, right, we've got this one over the line, and we've had a difficult way into the transfer, but we've managed to get it sorted. We were in Spain together, as I'm sure that we might have mentioned it once or twice on the channel in the last couple of weeks. But we were actually going out there going, there's only a couple of new boys to see. You're all a little bit, what's going on? Start of July, but we've been proved massively wrong, haven't we?
Yeah, impatient we are. That's what we are as fans. Obviously, we can see other teams doing some business, and then you think, it's like I said on the other stream. It's like going to a disco and the lights come on, and whatever girls are left, that's what you go with. Fireworks are going off here now.
Oh my word!
Oh my god!
Are you sure they're fireworks, Gaz? We'll come back to you in a minute. Adam, your reflection on what the transfer window's brought for Pompey.
It's just brought huge excitement for us. I just take gunshots over there. I hope he's okay.
It's all right. I've muted Gaz. Don't worry. He's all right. He's gone for a minute.
It's just really exciting. I mean, I was going to say that even the youth players that we had, like Mingy, they feel like signings this season for us, just coming in and bringing that fresh air. that we didn't realise that they actually had with the quality. But yeah, the signings that we've had, just game changing now. Like it kick-started with Bishop. I don't know how much we paid. Half a million, was it?
Yeah, 500, something like that. Yeah.
Really, really impressed with the Cowleys this season. It's looking like they're building a team for them and for the championship.
Alex has got to leave us, so very quickly, transfer window and a score.
Yeah, and I think the transfer window has been great. As Sam touches on, it's a planning approach, and I think we've had so many years, maybe jackets scarred us all, that we aren't convinced we'll do good business that when we do it. So I think a lot of fans have been really, really impatient, and I think hopefully this window really shows us with the Cowleys, as long as they're in charge, you just gotta trust in them. Don't panic. They're not panicking. They might be behind the scenes, but they're not in the press. So yeah, we just got to follow that lead, and I think from now on going forward, just trust in them and they'll get the players they want. And if they don't, it is what it is and we move on. But yeah, we've had a great window. Score prediction, I think we'll go there and we'll do them 3-1. I think you will do all right. And yeah, on Barnsley as well, it's the first time we had a week off. So let's hope this week doesn't allow them to gel, what they need to do. But yeah, lovely to chat to you boys.
Take care, mate. Just on what Mike said there's a lot of where's he gone? I'll take him out. There's a lot to credit to our recruitment team, CEO and the management team to do the business we've done. Do we really need director of football? Aaron, he's going to speak to Danny and Andrew tomorrow, Mike, there. But what are your thoughts on that? I know it kind of comes under the transfer window because it's been something we've been trying to sort out. There were kind of rumours of something going wrong at a Forest Green deal and bits and bobs like that, kind of hearsay and rumours. And I believe it was confirmed by Andrew Cullen that some of what had been said wasn't actually the case and that a lot of people and fans have got the wrong end of the stick on that one. Do we need a director of football for you?
It's difficult because when you actually do recruitment, Danny actually asked the players who was the most toughest striker they played against. That's why we got Bishop. He's actually, our scouting and everything is actually through the players. So not actually all scouts are going to get different games. To have a director of football, it's difficult because in hindsight, you could actually say, yeah, we do need one because they're value to the club. They can actually get into different corridors, into other teams and everything. But then do we really need that? Everything's going well as it is at the moment. But why not? I'll give it a go. Yeah.
You?
Well, God help us if that ever comes to fruition. Ryan has said, cracking transfer window for everyone involved at PO4. Some great players and massive character signs. Sam, is it sometimes more important about the character that you sign rather than the actual? I know the quality of the player is really important, but you need some characters in your ranks as well.
I think Pompey needed characters in there anyway. I think we were lacking a couple last year. I don't forget that leader. And now I think, Marlon Pack, Morrison, they're two big characters, two big leaders. And that's what we didn't have that last year. So, yeah, it is important. Obviously, the quality side of it, especially, I feel like is the key thing. And, you look at Manchester City, this is a good example, but like they bring in just pure quality all the time. They've got leaders in there, but the main thing is they're just the world's best footballers. And, we've got that's something we've added now. But yeah, with Pack and Morrison, it's kind of, we said it loads of times, but it's like that Michael Doyle kind of figure that we haven't had for a while. I mean, Clark Robertson was obviously he was like that leader last year for a bit, but he still got that presence that Pack does in the middle of the park. And if he wasn't the captain, we all know who would be captain. So yeah, that's for me. It's those two real leaders as well, like the likes of Joe Pigott. He's an experienced player at this level. I know he hasn't featured a lot in the last couple of weeks, but that's mainly because of Scarlett's form. But he's another player. He's just a leader and will be great for the dressing room as well. And I think Danny Cowley's already alluded to how professional he is being, despite not playing as much as he'd like at the moment. So, and he came on the other week and put a penalty away, didn't he? So, yeah, for me, those three leaders that we brought in going to be making a massive difference going forward.
Gaz, I realised you were partly interrupted by the celebrations. So, do you want to finish on what you were saying about the transfer window before we go for some score predictions?
No, I just think the transfer window. We've been lucky. With Danny Cowley, if I'm honest. I think he's got more, obviously more knowledge. I think he knows a lot more about the lower leagues as well. He follows a lot of players, and he's just very statistically minded. Being a sort of PE teacher, seemed to do a lot more research than what Jackett did. Some of the signings Jackett did, we looked at ourselves and was, really, is he any good? I think Danny knows a bit more about the player than obviously what Jackett did. So, yeah, I think Danny is more of an attractive manager as opposed to what Jackett was. So, I think Danny has to have has to take a lot of credit for where he's got Pompey to. Where we were down and out, 2 seasons ago, and now look at us now chalking and being happy and hopefully getting through the championship. Sam's got a smile on his face, which is good to see.
So I was looking at something on my laptop and made me laugh.
And and also in 6 days' time, Gaz, we're off to Oakwell. How are you feeling about that one? And what do you reckon for a score?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Obviously, they're on the back of a good win against Wednesday. But I think we'll travel in numbers. I'm not sure how many allocations they're going to give us for the game, but I'm sure the team will be well backed with the away fans. And I'm going to go for, same as Alex, I'll go for a 3-1 win. I think we'll concede again, but I think 3-1 will be the final score for me.
Sam, thoughts ahead of a trip to Oakwell? Tough one. Might be the first time Pompey dropped points in recent weeks.
I must say one thing though. I went to Barnsley's, the coldest place I've ever been to in my life. I went there a couple of years ago, and I've never known rain like it. But yeah, I'm going up on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it. It's my first proper big away day of the season, so should be good. But yeah, I mean, that result they got at Sheffield Wednesday, I was not expecting that one bit. I mean, that's a really impressive result, and 2 set pieces as well. I mean, I don't think they're as strong as they were the last time they were in League One, but I mean, they're still a good side. There's some experienced heads in there, and yeah, to score 2 goals with Sheffield Wednesday should clearly got something about them. But yeah, I'd like to think that we should have enough. I don't think we'll maybe be as high scoring as 3-1, but I'd like to see us keep a clean sheet. I know we're scoring a lot, but like, defensively, ultimately, if you're strong defensively, that's what gets you promoted. So I would like to see us be a bit more rigid at the back and potentially get a clean sheet and maybe go for just nick a 1-0 win. I mean, I'll take that any day of the week.
Definitely. And we should say we are live, so that means that you can get involved in the discussion as well. Drop your score prediction in the chat down below. A 4-0 against Barnsley. 3-1 says Mike, Pompey, Scarlett, Bishop and Raggett. 3-1 win. Lots of people are agreeing with you and Alex. Gaz, did you give a score, Sam? What do you reckon?
1-0, mate. 1-0. Nick a 1-0. I'll be happy with that.
Adam?
I think I'm going to go with a 2-0. Just one up Sam. But I do agree. I think it is really important to get that clean sheet, instill more confidence in our defence. And I think Michael Morrison will be pining for a clean sheet as well after the little mistake he made.
Dan has said Tykes 0, Pompey 2. Leo saying 2-0, 2-2 from Pompey in it. Mush. Ipswich fan, 2-2. Late equaliser for Pompey. I think we'll do one better than you, mate. I think we'll win that game rather than draw it 2-2. Dane Scarlett said hat-trick. And Griffiths scoring from inside his own box like he did last season. And Mason's gone for a 4-0. With that all in mind, Darren, what do you reckon?
It's going to be hard. I reckon they're going to be playing 5 at the back. With our high press and everything as well. I just think we're going to be too strong for them. We're going to battle. We're going to actually they're going to earn their money on Saturday. I say 2-0. 2-0 to Pompey.
Ryan said a very hard away day. 1-1 for me, Bishop goal. Theo said we could drop points from Barnsley, looking quite deadly, but I think we should push through. Andrew saying 1-1. Phil agrees with you, Sam. He's saying a 1-0 Pompey. Leah said 2-0 Bishop to score, and Johnny's going for a 2-0 Pompey. Right, that's where we'll leave it. We'll come back to you in just a second, gents. Before we do so, Alan's going to blow his nose, and then we'll have a look at the promos and see what's coming up over the next couple of weeks for Pompey. It's Barnsley next up, as we've been saying. I'm sure no one was surprised by that. And then after that, it's a really exciting and challenging month on the way for Pompey. Barnsley, then our attention turns to a trip to the West Midlands to face Burton Albion. Remember, just 1 point at the bottom of the league for them, yet to win a game at all this season in League One. Another tough test of Pompey in the space of a few short weeks. Plymouth Argyle at home on the 17th of September. Back-to-back home games at that point means Bolton will then journey down to Pompey. Ipswich Town away will kickstart Pompey's October. The next group stage of the Papa John's Trophy Paint Pot follows our trip to East Anglia. Then Fleetwood make the long trip down to Fratton Park, a game that finished 3 apiece. last season. I'm sure we'll all remember that. Right, it's time to leave you, gents. Thanks very much for joining us here on 4-0 written all over it, 4-0 Sunday Live. Sam, thanks for sparing a bit of time for us, mate. I know you've had a really busy day. That's where we're going to leave you for now. Thanks for joining us. We won't see you for Barnsley next weekend. We'll be back same time next week for 4-0 Sunday Live. We will be chatting all things Barnsley, and hopefully we'll be talking about another 3 points to Pompey. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening, and we will see you next weekend. Bye for now.